What's up, PeloFondo family? My name is Landon. I'm back again today with another awesome interview for you. Today I'm talking with Greg Waggoner. He is the owner of GW Bike and is a cycling coach with Team Wilpers. Greg, man, thanks so much for coming back and doing another interview with us.
Yeah, of course. This is awesome, man. It's a great time. Last time we did this, so I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, we had a lot of really great content for that last event back in January. And we just really want to make sure that everybody has access to that content and that information again before this next event on April 17th. Also, we're doing another awesome giveaway today, just like we did with the nutrition interview with Patty Lawson last week, which if you haven't seen that yet, be sure to give it a watch because it was really, really great information. So that giveaway today we're going to be doing is 5 consultation calls with a professional cycling coach. We'll tell you a little bit more about what you can do to be entered into that later, but let's go ahead and kick off the call and just get you some really awesome information. So, Greg, man, thanks again for being here. Let's start by just kind of getting everybody familiar with you and a little bit of your background. What got you into coaching cyclists to begin with?
Yeah, sure. So I actually started racing bikes probably 20 some years ago, and it was just a natural progression to become a coach with my background in physiology and working as a personal trainer. So taking up coaching was a natural path, and just took off from there. So what a great way to earn a living, quote unquote.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Outside on the bike's not a bad way to spend your time, that's for sure. And you're mountain biking these days, right? You were telling me you're out in you're cutting trails.
I've been really enjoying my mountain bike. Yeah, spring is coming. Through COVID here, my family and I, we moved up to Vermont. So we moved out of New York and we're up in Vermont. So I'm up in the country, and we've got some woods close by that need some trail building. And that's where I've been. So I've been spending most of the time on my mountain bike. But as I was telling you earlier, I do need to get that road bike out because I have committed to PeloFondo here on April 17th, 100 miles outside on the road bike. So I do need to make sure that bike's in working order.
We finally got you, huh? Finally joining the fold.
After telling everybody how to do it, I better put my money, however that goes. Yes, I'm on it.
It's going to be fun, man. That's awesome. So tell us a little about who you primarily work with. I know you have, several different avenues of coaching that you do, but just tell us a little bit about what some of those look like.
Yeah, so private clients through Team Wilpers is a range of professionals and competitive and non-competitive cyclists, indoor, outdoor, you name it. So beginners, advanced, seasoned racers, number of people. The physiology is all the same. So no matter where you're starting, we can find a program that works for you. So that's the private side. And then team coaching, we work with several teams. My partner and I, through GW Bike Coaching, we work with several teams who train together for a common goal, and they share a plan and do weekly contact with their coach. That's been a lot of fun too.
Yeah, no kidding. And you have a good chunk of teams that are riding this event, right?
We have I'm in contact with over 50 people who are doing
Goodness
this ride.
Gracious. That's awesome. That's awesome. So these consultation calls that are being offered here, let's talk a little bit more about those because we're giving 5 of those away. Having that one-on-one access to a trainer is really helpful for no matter where you are in your cycling journey, honestly, trying to figure out, whether it's making adjustments to the way you do things or whatnot. What kind of things do you cover in these consultation calls?
Oh, we can cover any number of things. Like you said, no matter where you are in your cycling journey, we can start the conversation right there. So if you're just getting started, maybe a bike fit, talking about how to set up your shoes, your saddle, your handlebars. If you haven't gone through a full fit yet, I can get you started in that area. We can talk about nutrition. We can talk about creating a plan for whatever your goal may be. We could talk about goal setting. We could talk about motivation. We could talk about physiology. We could talk about any number of things. I'm trying to think what I've covered.
Limitless list. Yeah.
A lot of times people will talk about getting into racing or getting into their first event, their first outdoor bike, going from the Peloton to outdoor cycling. That's been a great conversation to have with people. How do I get into outdoor cycling? What do I need to look for? how do I buy a bike? There's just any number of things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So, guys, we're going to tell you here in just a little bit what you can do to be entered in to receive one of those 5 consultation calls. But let's kind of start jumping into the meat of our conversation here. And I mean, it's Friday, so we're just almost exactly 1 week out from this event. And, everybody's probably getting excited. I'm sure some folks are getting anxious or nervous. So what's recommended right now, as people starting to get prepared over the next week?
Right. And I think you just touched on 2 very important words, anxious and nervous.
Yeah.
There's a big mental component to all of this that should not be discounted. And we'll maybe touch on that in a second. But let's go through the steps. Like PeloFondo has taken on its own life here and is constantly evolving. So how about a goal? Like what is your goal?
Right.
I'm trying to think of all the people that I talk to on a weekly basis, and some of them are still figuring out what their goal is for a week from now. But through the training, they've learned about themselves. They've learned what they like, what they don't like. Maybe a shorter event is their deal instead of the full 100 miles. But a lot of people are down for that big 100-mile commitment, and that's been kind of the gold standard goal for the event is 100 miles in one day. So there's a lot of variations to it. I think it's important to get your individual goal narrowed down if you haven't already. This being a week away, it's really not too late to change that goal, assuming you've been training and can do some type of event on next weekend.
Right.
So that's goal setting, motivation. What's your motivation for this event? What are you going to get out of it? What are you looking to get out of accomplishing this huge event? Are you thinking about family members? Are you thinking about yourself? Are you thinking about your fitness? Many number of things. With some of the people I've been talking with the past few weeks, motivation, we've been using obstacles as motivation. So I used my own family. My son had leukemia. My wife has had breast cancer. Those are obstacles in my life, but that's also motivation for me to train and stay healthy and keep taking care of myself. So this is all falls into part of that. So using obstacles as motivation is something that I've been talking with clients about.
Yeah, absolutely.
So motivation, and then overtraining also. At this point in time, a week away, let's take a look at what your overall training load is and how are you feeling at the time. Right now, I have most of my people who are training for PeloFondo are starting a recovery, or actually this is Friday, this is going on. So they've just finished a recovery week. We rest the week before the event. Because then you can always continue your recovery, or you can step things back up again. You have an extra week to really determine where you are and how you're feeling. So I like to program a rest week, recovery week, the week before the event, if that makes sense. So
if people have missed that window, though, what does that look like? starting right now.
Yeah, I don't think you've missed the window. I think you're right in the middle of the window. Mm-hmm. I like to start early and then ramp things back up again. But good example, I've had a few people just because of work or because of whatever commitments have to miss 2-3 days of training. And I tell you what, if you miss Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you can still come back Thursday and maybe an easy ride on Friday and feel really, really, really good on Saturday. So some forced recovery has shown people that rest is beneficial, even the week of the event. So starting on Saturday, you have time. So tomorrow is Saturday and Sunday. Maybe rest on Sunday instead of taking a long ride. Let's just turn things down a little bit. You've done your training, hopefully, and it's time to let it all sink in. Give yourself a chance to let everything sink in, and come to Saturday and next Saturday and Sunday ready to play.
Yeah. So what should training look like, Monday through Friday of next week?
Right. So I guess you're in 2 categories. Either you've done your recovery week last week and you're ready to step things back up again. If that's the case, I would start with a sweet spot workout on Tuesday And I'm not even afraid of a VO2, not easy. There's no easy VO2. There's no easy zone 5. I would say a few, like 3-minute zone 5 intervals on Wednesday. I would take Thursday off. I would do something similar to a power zone endurance, so a zone 2 ride on Friday, just to get your legs, keep them fresh, and then Saturday off you go. If you haven't done a recovery week, I would keep it all to zone 2. I would keep your intensity down, your volume down. Give yourself a good chance of recovery during this week. You're not trying to make any more gains. You're trying to let all the work you've done up to this point, let it all sink in. Maybe even take an extra day off.
Yeah. Yeah, and you had alluded to it earlier on. I mean, there's a lot we can do to prepare, physically, like you say, as everybody's been training and prepping for this. But the word that you use, or the phrase that you use a lot, is mental toughness. And I want to hear you touch on that a little bit too.
Right. That was a lot of fun. So I talked with my teams last week about mental toughness, and I came up with some good stories. Just showing up for races in the rain, finishing races after a crash. My derailleur cable came out one time when I still had to climb Mount Snow for the 4th time. So I had to put the bike over my back and run up Mount Snow. It's just finishing the task you've set out to accomplish.
Yeah.
Some good things. So when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And I had a few examples of how you do that. And it's about staying calm and narrowing down your focus. So let's not get too scattered and I have this many things to do, and how am I going to get through this? Just focus on maybe 10 minutes at a time. Focus like a laser, your mental capacity on your task. And I think that'll help get you through what you're trying to accomplish on PeloFondo Day.
Yeah, for sure. So Friday night of next week, everybody's going to bed early, I hope, to get plenty of rest. They've fueled up properly with their nutrition. They roll out of bed on Saturday morning or Sunday morning, whatever day they're starting their ride. What does that look like? How do you start race day?
I had it down to such a science. It was when I was more competitive. So I'm going to relive it here coming up with everybody. Yeah. So it's definitely start getting food in, start getting fuel, and just go over your checks, your whole body, loosen up, and hopefully you've checked your bike already, but hopefully you've done most of the preparation ahead of time. It should be pretty easy. Your kits, your cycling clothes are all laid out. Your fuel is all set up for the ride. Your drinks, your hydration, your whatever tablets you put in the water, everything is ready to go. You shouldn't have to be running around finding your shoes or matching your socks. That should all be taken care of the night before, so that it is less stressful the morning of. That's the best advice I can give. And also family support. If you have a family, spouse or kids, if they're on board with this, that makes all the difference in the world. It
sure does.
So if they can be supportive and you've set that up in advance, that makes all the difference in the world, because it's much nicer to hear "Go, Daddy, go," rather than "Honey, when are you going to be done?" Mm-hmm. So hopefully you've set that up in advance, and you can really enjoy your mental toughness and get through the execution and enjoy finishing the event with your family.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we should mention too, this is not the time to make, from now until the event, this is not the time to make any big changes, right? Especially to your bike fit or anything like that. Speak to that a little bit.
I would say I've made every mistake in the book, and that's one of them as well. So I did show up to a race one time with a brand new bike. I put it together myself, and thought I was gonna have a great experience. Well, my handlebars got loose, and I think the saddle got loose. I lost the saddle on the trail somewhere. Oh, it was a mess. So let's not make any changes at this point. A week out, all right, maybe you have, if something's really bothering you, you have a reason to raise your seat, lower your seat, but really, if everything's working, let's not change it. if you think you can get through the next week and the event, leave it alone. I wouldn't try new foods. I wouldn't try new fueling tactics. Let's not start new bedtime routines. Just keep everything the same. Let's not make any changes that we don't know will work.
Consistency is key, right?
Absolutely.
So as people are starting to get on, I mean, everybody has different goals, right? Everybody's, you got some folks that are doing 10, 15, 20, 30 miles. You got some folks that are doing 100, 200 miles. But I think no matter where you sit in that span, the same thing is true. You have to figure out how to pace yourself during that time, right? How do you keep yourself motivated? How do you pace? What kind of strategies do you have, or do you think work best for that?
Right. So looking back at your past rides, your past training rides, and find your zone 3, your high zone 2. Let's look at those. If your event is 100 miles, you're going to be on the bike for possibly 5+ hours.
Mm-hmm.
The body works best in zone 2 for that amount of time. You can mix it up to stay motivated. You can go 10 minutes high cadence, 10 minutes lower cadence, 10 minutes a little bit into zone 3, 10 minutes into zone 2. Make it up ahead of time. I've worked with my athletes to do this. We have structure laid out on their calendar. This is how many watts you should be pedaling. This is your cadence. We do every 10 minutes, up, down, something like that. A nice pattern to help get them through and keep them motivated. Make up your own, though. It's very easy. Draw it out on a piece of paper. What do you want to accomplish each hour? An event that long, I like to break it up into fifths. Like one hour. If your event is shorter, let's say you're going to ride for a shorter 30 mile and your first time, this is a long ride for you. Still break it up into quarters. How about 15 miles? I'm going to focus on this power. 15 miles, I'm going to focus on this power. I'm going to stop at this point and take a break. Maybe use the bathroom, maybe get something to eat, walk around the house once, and get back on, do another 15. So just make a plan so that it looks good and motivating to you.
Yeah. Talk a little too about the value of using different cadences throughout the day to help your muscles out just a little bit as well.
Yeah, totally. We all have different muscle fiber types. So fast twitch muscle fibers, they like the slow, high resistance cadence. So when you turn the red knob, when you turn to the right and it gets harder to pedal, you're pedaling slowly, you're using your fast twitch muscle fibers. Those are going to fatigue quickly. If you turn the knob the other way and the resistance is low, your cadence can go up. You're going to be using fast, slow twitch muscle fibers. Those are the more aerobic muscle fibers. Those can go a little bit longer. They'll fatigue less. They use oxygen in the muscle contraction, so it's a little bit more efficient. You can still use both of them. Going up and down in cadence is a very good way to make sure you're using all of your resources and not just focusing on one muscle fiber type.
Yeah. And, for those breaks, some folks may or may not realize this, but on the schedule, we will actually have little rest stops put in there for you as well. I think a lot of people have the misconception that when we're doing this inside, you have to just get on your bike and ride for 8 hours straight, which is not true. When you're doing normal outside events, there are breaks built into where you're headed most of the time. You have those little pit stops for most fondos. And so don't be afraid to stop for a couple of minutes and, go to the bathroom and change your clothes or do whatever you need to before you hop on the bike again.
So you're reminding me of couple points on that. So one athlete I do speak with, his goal is to do 100 miles without getting off the bike.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to convince him to allow himself at least one stop. He's like, well, what would a real fondo be like? A real race? You would do it all in one ride, right? No, not true. So the last fondo I did it with my son. My son was in leukemia treatments at the time, and that was a great event. But we took all the rest stops there were. So rest stops, and they have food, food vendors set up. And I was trying. The funny thing that I was thinking of was he wanted pizza, he wanted chili. I'm like, whoa, take it easy, take it easy. we're on mile 65 and he's slamming pizza and chili.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh boy. So you gotta know what you're putting in your mouth. And but yeah, take the rest stops, but just make a plan.
Yeah.
Make a plan and use your history to make that plan. Don't decide pizza with pepperoni at the last minute during your rest stop, but plan the rest stops, plan your food, plan it all out. Write down as much as you can. It'll be a positive experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And even during those, take some time maybe to stretch out a little bit too, because what a lot of folks, especially those who haven't done this before, it's very easy to end up with cramping, one way or another, whether you're dehydrated or whatever that may look like. Talk a little bit about how we can maybe avoid cramping and what we can do, as a supplement just to kind of help get people through that.
Right. So my thing on cramping is really know your limits.
Yeah.
That's the best thing. If you've experienced cramping in your training, then you know at what point in your ride you might get cramping. Now, dehydration and the electrolytes, that whole thing, yeah, you need to play around with that, but you need to do it ahead of time.
Yep.
On PeloFondo day, you start getting cramps. It's probably a good idea if you can't make them go away with some drinking and slowing down your intensity. It's probably a good idea to abort.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's okay. I mean, there's no gun to our heads on this event. Let's choose your goals and choose your goals according to what your training has been. So let's not try and go way too far and then you experience cramping and try and push on through that. There's no sense in that. So my thing on cramping is know your limits. If you've experienced it in your training, then you know at what point you need to maybe focus on your hydration, focus on your electrolytes, and see what works. If you need to stop for a little bit, stretch, move around a different way. Cycling, you're in a very, very one motion situation for a long time. So if you can get up and move around in a different way, maybe put your feet up for a little bit, see what works. If it doesn't work though, yeah, it's time to abort. Don't get yourself in a situation that causes more damage.
Right. Yeah, on that note of, not pushing too far, a lot of people end up having these stretch goals too, right? Where they'll come in and they'll say, I'm going to ride for 35 miles, and maybe they end up riding for 80 miles instead, just because of the adrenaline and the hype of everything that's going on ride day. And I want you to speak to that a little bit and how to make sure that people are safe and smart, because while it may be possible for your body to do that, what does that actually mean on the back end of that, right, for recovery?
Right. So sure, the adrenaline, the endorphins, and that just speaks to the great event that this is, because if people sign up for 35 and can then go on to 70 or 80, way beyond what they imagined they could do, well, that's a great event, causing the adrenaline, causing the endorphins. So yes, just because it's possible doesn't mean it's a great idea. But there are definitely a lot of people who have undershot on their goals and can go a little bit further. So keep fueling, keep hydrating, pay attention to your body. But you don't need to be a hero. Let's be very smart about it. If you start noticing some fatigue, if you start noticing dizziness, any symptoms that really don't make sense, any pain, that's it. Shut it down and count yourself a winner. It's a great thing to be able to ride for as long as you've ridden, and get off the bike and start the recovery and shut it down. So
yeah. The events happen every 3 months, so don't hurt yourself on this one. If you need to, stop and come back and prepare for the next one to hit the goal that you're wanting, for the next event. So
if you over push on this one, you just have to go farther on the next one. So good incentive to stop with your goal mileage on this one.
There you go. So let's talk a little bit. Well, actually, before we get into recovery, a lot of people are going to be doing 2-day rides. So you get through the first chunk, whether you split it up half and half or whether you try to do the bulk of it on, Saturday. What should Saturday night recovery look like going back into riding again on Sunday morning?
Oh man, my biggest mistake is not treating the time off the bike properly. So I forget about the hydration, nutrition. Oh, I can eat whatever I want, and go to sleep early. No, why would I do that? So those have been my biggest mistakes on the 2-day event. So let's fix those. Continue the drinking, water, electrolytes. Continue the fueling. So healthy carbs, get them in there. Get them in there. You are depleted. If you've done 50, 60 miles today, you are depleted. You need to replace that. You need protein to rebuild the muscles, but more importantly, you need carbohydrates to replenish your fuel sources. Same thing in then the sleep, getting to sleep on time. I always had trouble with that just because my brain is spinning. The endorphins, the adrenaline is still going. So whatever meditation, maybe a little yoga that night, like light yoga, stretching, whatever you need to calm your nervous system so that you can get good sleep that night. Deep breathing can calm your nervous system. Whatever you need to do to get to bed that night, and then off you go the next day. Same schedule.
And then you finish the ride, you're done. Obviously, what you just said kind of covers that Sunday night experience. But what should the next couple of days, the following week, look like to help aid and speed up recovery?
Yeah, same thing. You can keep moving. I would not sit still. I would not unless you've really overdone it and you're sore and you're really, I don't want to get on the bike. If your body's telling you I don't want to be on the bike, well, then probably listen to your body. But to speed recovery, I like some easy recovery rides. That's why they're called recovery rides, right? You get the blood flowing, and blood flow brings a recovery aspect to the areas where it's working. So I like a few recovery rides. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you can really probably start get back to training, get back to the intensity, and start looking forward to whatever your next goal is.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, Greg, thank you so much. This has all been really incredible information. I always super enjoy talking with you. I've included the link to your social accounts down in the description of the video below, along with some exclusive offers from some of our other event partners. Hey, everybody, if you want to be entered into that giveaway to win the chance to receive one of the 5 coaching consultations, be sure to hit the subscribe button below, enable the notifications there to ensure you don't miss any of our on-demand or live content that we have planned over the next few weeks. And then just drop a comment down there telling us what you thought about the interview. If you have any other questions that we can follow up on, that would be great. Be sure to put your leaderboard name in there so we can track you down, and we will announce the winners on Monday, April 19th. Man, Greg, thanks again for your time today. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to talk with you, but and also to talk about cycling. So what fun.
Yeah, man, we'll do a lot more of these. It'll be great.
Love it. Thank you.
Awesome. Hey, thanks everybody for joining us. We'll see you next time.